SMART24, driving business.
There's only one day left for Christmas, and the weather is still making it so hard to maintain some businesses during this festive season. More so if you're used to opening up your businesses quite early in the morning and you do not have a means of transport that can deliver your goods or that can deliver you in person to that same location in time without any challenges due to the weather that is actually acting up lately. Well, welcome to Smart Means Business. Of course, we kicked it off at 6:30 with the news recap, and now we're heading into more of the news updates coming in this particular morning. The news updates from the world of business, and of course, to just keep you up to speed with the ever-trending world of business and ever-changing world, definitely. So you as a viewer, as a business person, these are times when you really need to understand. At a time when most people are home, others are traveling to head back to their villages and different rural settings, you get to realize that business is still moving on. For example, for people who are actually selling roads, who are actually dealing in the roadside sort of business, those particular people in there, quite many, and those are people who have already started making and earning some money. Those in the transportation sector, however much not so many people are traveling lately, but of course there is some good money to share upon on the other way around. Well, besides that, the basics, if you look at now the basics here, is that you and I can well agree that the festive season this time around may be characterized with a lot of rainfalls here and there. It is a rainy season. Even this particular night had some good rains all over. So that means these are times when you need to be very prepared about any weather changes that will happen just a day to Christmas. I'm Jerome Paul Sunker. Back before we even dive into our business updates, just to quickly tell you about Zabu. Zabu is a platform by Altex East Africa, and it says that my money, my future. With no hassle, you can use the USSD code *292# and follow the prompts. Then definitely you'll be ready to invest in bonds and securities. Zabu says that my money, my future. Altex East Africa says do something new. With a minimum of just 15,000 shillings, you can quickly kickstart off your investment journey and of course try to invest and see where your money is growing and where your money is heading to. Zabu, a platform by Altex East Africa, like I say, making it easy and making it so reliable and affordable for any person out there. The opening time is 8:15 a.m. and closing time at 3:15 p.m. The only time that these markets are not open is during the weekends and during public holidays. So that means the other days you're ready to invest and, of course, grow your money into something viable. And now here we start off with our SMB business update this morning, where we look at the update regarding the Graceful Mattress Factory that for a few days back caught fire. Now, once such situations happen, you get to realize that it is actually shaking the industrial setting. It shakes up the investors who may be a little bit scared about it. But of course, the minister in charge of investment was actually quick to note that Uganda is making sure that such things don't happen. And of course, they're going to be investing heavily in equipment to ensure the fire safety equipment, to ensure that such scenarios can be mitigated, amongst other things. Of course, remember, once such things happen, lots of things do occur. Look at the situation that an investor or the owner of the business, the owner of the industries will end up losing a lot of property. Imagine the money that is going to be lost in the long run, having prepared for maybe a period or a season ahead in terms of the kind of production that is being rendered out. Then also on the other hand, you realize that some people might lose jobs in the short run simply because the person wants to cut the costs because of the same situation that has led up to that. So here we have this particular update, and we have the Honorable Member from Mbale Municipality, Honorable Karim Masaba, who does reveal that these are some of the things that we should be prepared for as a country, the kind of situations that you should be prepared for, regardless of the fact that you do not wish them to happen. But in case they happen, what next? You really need to have a plan B for that one. Let's get more in this update.
An alarm at about 7, some means after 7 p.m. that there was a fire outbreak at the industrial park. So on rushing there, I was among the first people on ground, and the fire brigade was not yet there, but after several calls, one of the trucks arrived very fast from the fire department in Mbale. They tried to put out the fire, but unfortunately they were not able to because of the limited capabilities that they do have. But numerous calls were made by the security agencies to the nearby stations, and about an hour later we received another truck coming in to save the situation all the way from Tororo, the police station in Tororo. They tried to do their best, but unfortunately the fire was already too much and out of control. So there is literally nothing more they could do apart from trying to save the remaining factories from getting the fire. So the entire building that was being owned and accommodated Grace Farm burnt to ashes, and nothing was salvaged, nothing was saved. As I speak now, the building is into ashes, but fortunately the neighboring factories that are just right next, because they are spaced by less than 20 meters, so the neighboring factories were able to be saved, and none of the neighboring factories got fire. At least we are fortunate about that. But as I speak, the situation looks to be normal, but unfortunately it's that only that building now is on ground, and the people who have been working there, they are now unemployed because Grace Farm has been employing about 500 youths who have been working in shifts. There have been various shifts for these youths, but now as I speak, many of them are now unemployed and they cannot bring something onto the table. And we don't know how long they will be unemployed because it takes time to construct. So as I speak now, it's a problem for us as a community. As the people of Mbale City, we are now challenged because this could even lead to an increase in the crime rate, given that many of the youths are no longer employed. But one of the key issues that I noticed was the lack of firefighting equipment at the facility. We expect with this massive investment, at least there would be firefighting equipment in almost literally every corner, or after at least every 100 meters. But there are no fire hydrants in the vicinity of where the building that got fire was. So unfortunately, we had to rely on only the fire brigade. We couldn't access any water point because these vehicles had to drive for about 10 kilometers to go and refill and come back. So this is a challenge. This is something we need to address. I think our government needs to come out and take action against such clear policies and guidelines. That is something that we are lacking as a nation: proper firefighting procedures and massively investing into firefighting in this country, because with an investment of over $100 million, we expect at least there to be firefighting equipment on site. But we didn't really get even access to fire extinguishers. And though they could literally do nothing, but we expect better mechanisms like water hydrants that can provide water in case of emergency. So I believe government needs to be very firm on this. One of the requirements before such factories, such industrial parks are commissioned is to have the best fire and safety equipment in place to prevent death of our people and loss of property.
And the idea here has been the fact that we need to focus on having firefighting equipment in place. And sometimes you come to a point in life and you realize that if we are to talk about firefighting equipment in place, is a lot more about where next can you, as an investor, put your money. Because you get to realize that sometimes you will wake up and invest into a project. Now, once this project is becoming the ideal situation that you ever thought it would be, I can call it, then certain things start happening. Now, some of the other things that may happen are natural calamities that may be caused by maybe too much rains, the flooding that may actually, then you find a factory being washed away or part of the factory being washed away. That also depends on which region you set up the factory, or which did you set the industry in a wetland or something. Then besides that, you also get to realize that some of the other natural calamities that do occur include maybe some unwanted situations coming up. You've heard of thunderstorms, very rare though, you would say, but then these are some of the things that you never plan for, because you never imagined them happening. Now, once fires come through, of course, we've been having cases of fires with industries, and also when it comes to mattress industries, industries that manufacture mattresses. Those are some of the key industries where we've been having such issues here and there. Now, besides the same situation, you get to as well realize that most of the times as well, we have situations where these companies have less equipment, mention about having the equipment though, and then very few of the people available may not have any idea of using this particular equipment to fight the fire, just in case it does occur. So those are some of the things that you look through and say, well, in case of a fire outbreak, how ready are your employees to put this down? These are some of the other things that we should be looking at, because at the end of the day, properties is getting lost with the fire outbreak, and we've come to a point in time when you realize that anyway, it is something that we can work on. Honorable Evelyn Anita in the other round was saying, well, it is absurd that such situations are happening, but the government is still working hand in hand and also creating room for the other investors to be safe and be sure that there is nothing of the same nature that will happen at the end of it all. Well, basically, those are some of the key things that you should be learning off from the Uganda's investment sector, as we continue to pray that such things never happen again. But away from that, let's head into our press review this morning to see what is making headlines from the world of print media in the world of business. Press review as well this morning. There is a report regarding public servants' salary probed as investigations cover pension and gratuity payments. This is a report coming in with the New Vision. Then the national address, HIV fight, President Museveni cautions youth against short-term pleasure. That is what the New Vision has recorded here. Economy in 2022, did it grow or decline? There's a report here from the New Vision. You can definitely read more about it. Then the Butabika Hospital records more cases of mentally ill children. Another report, serious one, that you will definitely need to be having. Now, the Finance Ministry has ordered a payroll audit, as in between the line, according to the Ministry of Public Service, there are approximately 360 workers on government payroll. 360,000 workers on government payroll. Now, in between the other lines, recently, civil servants in various districts received notifications on delayed December salaries as local governments strive to work within budgets, sending many working in public service into a frenzy as Christmas draws near. Now, when you look at some of these cases, as we continue to look at it in this, Ramadan Gobi, who is the finance minister or secretary to the treasury, said the government is doing all it can to ensure that such crisis does not occur again. Now, also, the New Vision, the ministers suspend land boards in 5 districts. And that is one which is a report that is worth reading this morning. Then also, there is the key points from President Museveni's national address on December 20th being summarized for you here in the New Vision. Then the land wars, Makerere pins ministry officials. That is another report coming in here. Now, load shedding is set to continue in 2023 due to vandalism of power equipment, according to another report here in the New Vision, because each tower that is vandalized costs over 200 million shillings to replace, and it requires up to 1 month to set up, and 1 billion shillings, according to the Electricity Act 2022, prescribes a fine of 1 billion shillings for a vandal. In case you're caught vandalizing, then you pay 1 billion shillings, because these are people engaging in vandalism end up selling some of this property. And the COMESA team has held President Museveni over tannery. The Kaumu factory shows what Africans can do, according to the delegates from COMESA. So that is another situation coming in here. Finance Ministry has outlined priority areas and incentives for the new year, as the new vision breaks it down for you whether the economy grew or it declined or it stabilized in the other way, because in between the lines here, by Uganda achieving a per capita income of $1,046, it means that on average every Ugandan earns 3.7 million every year and 313,800 on a monthly basis. That is according to what is in here. So if you were to look through the new vision, that is something you should be looking at. Lastly, from the new vision, government has invested in ICT to create jobs. This is according to Prime Minister Robin Anabanja. Then Pastor Kayanja has advised Ugandans on commercial agriculture. That's another report here in the new vision. Now, besides the new vision, we look at the Daily Monitor as well from the perspective of business. The Finance Ministry is in a shake-up, in a staff shake-up. The movement of staff at the ministry, which officials claim is aimed at ending the silo mentality, is said to have the blessing of President Museveni and other government officials. That is one you can still read of this morning from the Daily Monitor. Then, on the other hand, a maid has been given 1 year in jail for stealing 25 million shillings from the boss. That is another report. Then, court has blocked removal of Dr. Orlando as Uganda Medical Association boss. That is another report that you can definitely read from there. And then the Chairman General of National Organization of Trade Unions has tasked the Labour Minister, Betty Amongi, to leave office in 2 weeks over her involvement in the NSSF saga. The NSSF saga is still taking different shape, even though we're heading into the festive season. One may think it was also going to be one we return to by early 2023. But, well, it is something that we are still having in here, and the discussions are still ongoing on whether it has come to an end or not. Lastly, from the Daily Monitor, fuel station proprietor is seeking a 1.5 billion over lost businesses. This is according to the flyover that is around the KCCA, that KCCA is working on. If you well know, there is a fuel station around that same place as you're heading to Zambia. That is a Total fuel station. For the last 2 years, it has not been working as a fuel station should be working, because you will hardly see a vehicle that is branching there to take fuel. Anyway, that's it for the press review and the business update this morning. When we do return after the break, meanwhile, we shall be having Karibu East Africa. Not only that, I do have the SMB international updates as well to keep you up to speed with what is trending across the borders of Uganda. Good morning.